This is the old Twin Turbo Vise screw and nut. Now these are high quality. I'm not embarrassed by this performance in the slightest. It's really good, but the new one is a bit better. What's up? Welcome back to the shop. Andy Klein here, long-haired 2-month lockdown version. What you just saw at the beginning is one of 3 improvements to the Twin Turbo Vise that will be on your Vise if you haven't received it yet, or if you purchase it right now. Pre-sale, purchase it right now. So as we speak, the Vise parts that I need to complete your orders are on their way to me, which means that we're not too far off. I'm thinking late May, which for some of you who purchased more recently is actually what the website says. Right now it says May. But for some of you who had purchased earlier, who just kind of missed the first batch of production that covered the Kickstarter orders and then website orders, the projection was February. So I'm very late for you, and I apologize. There aren't many of you in that boat because I actually realized pretty early on that February was going to be problematic, and I bumped it back to April. But for those of you caught in that window, I sincerely apologize. Let me know how I can make it up to you. I know with the first wave of orders from Kickstarter, I kind of kept pushing it back. I said, well, I'm going to be a few weeks late. I'm going to be a month late. I'm going to be 2 months late. I had everything pretty much fulfilled by 2 months late. I know that's not terrible from the standpoint of other Kickstart campaigns, but it was a lot worse than I wanted to be. I really wanted to be on time. Part of the problem, I didn't appreciate how much work it was going to be packaging up all the Vices, all the hardware, getting them all shipped. I mean, I just completely underestimated all that. What you can see me doing right now is prep work for your orders that I wasn't able to do necessarily the time before. A lot of the work associated with getting your Vices out, I can actually be doing right now ahead of the several shipments that I'm waiting on, because I have a lot of excess inventory and all this hardware packing can get done. So I'm doing all that and getting ahead. So I don't think I'm going to be in a position like I was before, where every couple weeks I'm telling you there's going to be another delay. No, I think I have a pretty good handle on it this time. And I'm doing what I need to do right now to get the Vices to you as quick as possible. All right, so how about if you're interested in a Twin Turbo Vise but you haven't purchased one yet? If you purchase a Vise right now and within the next several weeks to a month, I would estimate, you will be in on the current shipment, the current production run. So you'll get fulfilled right after I fulfill the people I was just talking about who have already ordered. So the website still says May. I'll switch that to June, but I would say you're early to mid-June, depending on when you actually order, if you're considering a Twin Turbo Vise and want to buy it in the near future. And so then round about the June time frame, I will actually have Vices in stock for a period of time. So you buy a Vise and it'll ship in the next couple days, like a normal company. Now, unfortunately, after the current production run runs out, which at the pace I'm going is probably not going to take all that long, I am going to then have a back order period of time. I know, it sucks, it's annoying, I want to get out of this, it's just really hard to get ahead of inventory. I hope you don't underestimate how much I appreciate the trust you placed in me. I will always come through for you. But right now, Vices are coming. For a while, I'll have them in stock. Then I won't again. There'll be a back order period, which is similar to a pre-sale. You make a purchase, you pay the money, and you get the Vise a few months later. After that, that should be it. I should never have another back order. I should always have them in stock. I think that's realistic, and that's what I'm shooting for. I don't want to be in a perpetual in-stock back order, back and forth forever situation. This is still early days getting a business up. I'll get through this, and thank you for your support. And just as an aside, if you're curious why I have some parts like this hardware and not others, hardware is relatively cheap compared to other machine parts. I'm sure you're not surprised to hear that. But to get the economies of scale on the fabrication of custom bolts, I had molds made for exactly what I needed because I couldn't find the right hardware. Anyway, I had to make bigger orders. I was able to do that because the parts aren't as expensive, and I wasn't really thinking that would give me a chance to get ahead on some of this work, but it actually is really lucky. If I had to wait on all this stuff and then deal with it all when it comes in, it would take me a lot longer to get the vices out. So that's what's going on here. And I'm in my basement. I had to move it all to my basement, or my shop, because of social distancing concerns and that whole thing. Which has its upside. I can come down here and get a little bit of work done, even though the storage unit's close. Oh, what's that you said? You want to hear about the improvements to the vise? That's the exciting part? I'm going to finish it up, then we'll get to that. All right, 9 more hardware packs done. Let's talk about the vise improvements. So I'll tell you about the next improvement while I go through footage of building the prototype for this improvement. So when you have a vise mounted underneath a thick workbench, so it's sticking up 3, 4, 5 inches, you're always going to have some top to bottom racking. That's why in the build process I have you put a thin strip of wood and cut an angle on it on the planer, because that compensates for the racking you get. But I thought of a way to significantly improve the top to bottom racking that you get on the vise, which was already not really too bad, but this makes it better. And I do that with a support that's anchored in the wooden jaw right below the posts that hold the screws. So with this in place, most of the clamping torque is actually taken up by the wooden jaw and not placed on the weld, as it is if you have the holes slightly oversized, which they kind of have to be. So now you can see with these in place, when the vise clamps down on a workpiece, especially one that's towards the top of the jaw, that torque is transferred to the wood jaw through those 2 new supports. And the last upgrade you'll get if you haven't got your vise yet is electroplated gears. Now I've mentioned this before, but I'm just kind of grouping those 3 improvements together because they're part of the package. They look better than the previous gears, and I won't have so many rejects like this one that were just ended up tarnished. There's also a slight friction advantage, so it's better, and I'm glad that I have reliably good-looking gears and not have to deal with this anymore. All right, I know if you already have your vise and you supported me in the Kickstart campaign or made an initial purchase, you're probably feeling not so happy that you didn't get these improvements to the vise, and you want to know how you can get your hands on them. I hear you. I wish there was a way that I could keep improving things and make them better and not create that feeling. I get it. So first point, in serendipity with you, I'm not upgrading the screws on my vise. I'm going to live with the original screws, which are just fine. The friction and smoothness of those vices I'm very happy with. I'm proud of them. I'm proud to have my name associated with them. So I don't think you should feel bad about the vices you got. I know some of you still want the upgrade. It's hard to know there's something better out there and I don't have it. And you're going to want to know about, is there an upgrade package for my vise? Not yet, but I'm going to try to make that happen someday. You heard me just mention about trying to build inventory and just the capital of the business. Buying a whole bunch of extra gears and screws is another thing that's challenging in that respect. So I'm asking you, live with the vise you have, get used to it. On the supports behind the screws, that's a very easy thing to DIY with a screw and a washer. You don't need to do something as fancy as what I built to get that extra support and help with the racking top to bottom issue, which honestly, it's not all that big a deal. It's an incremental upgrade. I used the vices without it for a long time and didn't have any complaints. It just was an easy thing to improve, so I made the improvement. So I'll get to you someday with an upgrade package, just not right away. And fair warning, the screws and the gears are some of the most expensive components in the vise, so it's probably going to cost more than you think. That's another part of my hesitation. Let me know in the comments how much you would pay for either the screws or the gears. That'll give me a sense of, what's realistic. I think that's all for now. Stay safe as our nation works out a plan to get back to some kind of normal here after what we've been through. Thanks for following along. I'll catch you next time.